or I guess submit to the fact that people won't change.
Kind of. But I think it's almost like racism will almost take a different form in the future, is what I'm trying to say. Like, what we consider racist now will not be in like 100 or like 1,000 years.
What form? I think I might agree with you, and I think that I might use your beliefs to prove my point. But before I do, what do you think it might change into?
3, 2, 1. All right. And welcome back, you guys, to We Do Not Exist, episode 2. My name's Armando.
I put up a 3, and then I was like, "Fuck, it's not 3."
Oh,
it's
you
2.
fucked up.
Yeah, and I'm Jordan. I'm sleepy. This fucking coffee, it's laced with like some other shit, man. I don't know what the fuck you put in it, but I'm tired. If I black out somewhere in this fucking video, you know who fucking raped me. It's kind of nice to think that someone would want to rape me. Okay, let me clarify. Someone who's not disgusting, which is a compliment to you because you're not disgusting. I don't find you disgusting, at least.
I'm flattered.
You should be. I think if someone says that they would be okay, that they would be, they would think fondly of you raping them. I think that that's a pretty good compliment.
I don't.
Okay, we can fucking move on. Let's just move on.
I don't know about that one, Chief. Okay, so yeah, welcome back to We Don't Exist. Today we are going to be talking about.
So just for full transparency, we're gonna cover a question that's it's timely, and we're covering it. We're staying within the realm of philosophy and psychology. But it's, if you're watching this within the same month of its release, you understand why we're covering this question. It's still a question that is on the list. We're just kind of fast tracking to it. We're skipping around anyways, so might as well skip around,
to this one.
Exactly.
Question is will racism cease to exist?
Yeah. So this is an interesting one because it's not can racism cease to exist, it's will racism cease to exist.
Yeah.
And so,
oh man, I'm hitting the mic so hard.
Yeah,
Sorry guys.
Here's what it is. Yeah. Will it cease to exist? I would say that I think it will. And I don't even think that we're that far from it. I think that we're probably maybe another 150 years maximum. Maximum. I don't think they're that far from it at all. Even just looking at our situation right now, the vast majority of people don't like racism. They're like strongly against racism. I've heard it multiple times in the past, fucking couple days, of people saying that it's not enough to not be racist, you have to be anti-racist. So the fact that I'm hearing that quite frequently is making we're already a lot of the fucking way. We're just not all the way. But I think that there's also another aspect to racism that I don't think people take the time to differentiate. And I don't even think people take the time to define racism in and of itself. Let me know if I'm fucking going on way too long.
No, keep going. I'm agreeing with everything.
But a lot
of
people, I remember growing up, people would say something like fucking, I don't know, you're Asian, so you're going to get really good grades. And that's fucking racist. That's not fucking racist. What do you mean that's racist? If anything, I mean, yeah, sure. It's like a racially charged compliment, which obviously holds no actual gravity, but it's not racist. Or I mean, people would say so much shit. Essentially, there's a big distinction between racism and disliking a culture.
Mm-hmm.
probably shouldn't go into details of certain cultures I dislike, but I'll go into my own disculture and things that I don't like about that because apparently that's okay, right? So yeah, there's like ghetto black people, ratchet black people, the Fairfield kind of people.
Oh god, we just lost like
I know,
100
right?
viewers right there.
And so what's the stereotypes? They're loud, they're obnoxious, they're inconsiderate, they're reckless. The
Those
list
are all
goes
the
on.
stereotypes.
Exactly, yeah, and a lot of these stereotypes they come from very stereotypical low socioeconomic cultures, right? And so primarily these people are often black, sometimes Hispanic, very rarely Asian, but usually black or Hispanic. And so a lot of people don't like these kind of people. I don't know if you'd be comfortable with me saying this, but this is something that came to mind when we were talking about our fathers, and you were talking about where your father stands with your neighbor, and and how your neighbor isn't someone who he feels is, and essentially, I'm not sure if I should go into that. Probably not, right?
No.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I think you get what I mean. He has nothing against the race of black people. He has something against a certain culture within the black community, if you can fucking say that. I mean, I really hate the community. I really hate the word community in the way it's used nowadays too. Have you ever noticed how much people use the word community? They say the gaming community, the black community, the LGBT community. It's like, what the fuck, man? How many communities are there? Like, I guess I'm a part of 30 communities because I'm black. Like, I'm like questionably bisexual. I'm also like a gamer. So like, what the fuck? And I don't hang out with like half the fucking people who are like me. So am I part of these communities? I don't fucking know. But anyways, I'll let you start talking.
Okay. Yeah. So what you brought up was pretty interesting. I think where we need to start off is the definition of racism, because there is a huge line on what defines that in our generation today.
What do you mean by a huge line?
So here's the thing. One, people can consider racism as an action. So you could take like Nazis, or when they were going against the Jews, or just Nazis just going against blacks as well. KKK, people. Well, KKK initially was actually just a club, I think, but then it developed into an action like of actual racism. And then people also define racism as like discriminative terms and like vocab words essentially, and phrases like stereotypes, and just that's where essentially like racist jokes stem from, where it's like this discriminatory verbal essentially, like you're saying like Chinese people,
for sure,
or like Mexicans mow lawns. Like I've been hearing that like all my life, and do you understand that, I don't want to assume anything, but do you understand that that's not racist? And here's the thing. I think this is like the very fine. This is where it gets confused. This is where it gets confused, because there's the term of reverse racism, right? Where, for example, one situation would be a black person explaining how they're oppressed to a white person, and because they're white, they have no opinion. And then the white person will go, that's reverse racism because you're oppressing me for my color. Essentially, you're oppressing for my freedom of speech, saying like I can't have an opinion because I'm white. Right. Sure. And so here's that main distinction.
By the way, I want to fucking tell a story about reverse racism. Yeah. I've told this story 1,000 times, but it's so fucking interesting. As a black African American in Northern California, a very I don't know. We'll just stick to me being black. During like the very first Black Lives Matter movement, when I would drive around, because I fucking love to speed, by the way. I sped all the way over here. I don't think I went below 80, like really at all. But But yeah, when I would speed and a cop would come up to me because I'm breaking the fucking law, they would come up to me, they'd see me, and this is obviously an assumption, but presumably they'd see that I'm black and then drive away because they'd be like, yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not gonna be another fucking.
Wow.
I'm not gonna stir this pot. Yeah, and it makes sense, right? You look on the fucking news every single time you turn to some shit, and it's like, cop, fucking being racist, cop beating up black person, cop pulling over. He only pulled me over because I'm black, and it's like nobody wants that fucking smoke. So it's like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. But yeah, anyways. That's reverse racism. I'm literally like, there's things that I shouldn't get away with that I don't think I would have gotten away with if I wasn't black.
Right. And so, but here's the thing. This is where the huge line is. Essentially, there's two beliefs.
That's not actually reverse racism, by the way. I fucked up. Continue.
Okay.
It's not. I just realized it's not. It's like reverse discrimination, but it's not reverse racism. Anyways, continue.
Right. Well, I mean, I see what you mean, and
Yeah.
This is where, like, I think this is like what's causing this huge controversy right now, where it's like this, like, what is racism? Like the definition is just so out of whack.
Yeah.
And it's like two sides just have two different opinions and they lead to completely different roads.
Yeah.
And so because of that, right, if you view racism as action, right, if you view it as an action and taking action into, killing and just horrible things, then that's racism for you. But if you consider it as discrimination, then that's racism for you, right? Now, generally, people who are on the discriminative side also think that taking action is racism, but ones who are like on the taking action side also kind of see discriminative not necessarily as racism.
Yeah.
And so I think this is the problem. This is the thing where the question comes in, will racism ever cease to exist? And so I think it's until we define what the fuck it is, we'll determine this answer.
Yeah. No, you know what? That's actually a beautiful fucking point. And I didn't even think about that. I did think about it, but I didn't think about it in the way that you just painted it. But yeah, that's a good fucking point. The only way that you can get rid of something is if you understand what the fuck you're getting rid of.
Yeah.
If it's like, hey, take the furniture out, and so you take all the couches and chairs out, well, dressers are furniture, but you didn't realize it was. So you thought you took out all the furniture, but you actually didn't.
Right.
It's because you didn't have a clear definition of what furniture was.
Exactly.
So you making a fucking amazing point right there.
And here's the other thing. Let's say racism action-wise does end, right? There's no
nobody's getting hurt, nobody's getting killed, nobody's getting discriminated against other than verbal.
And then let's say aliens come to our planet. Like not aliens, extraterrestrials. They come and visit to our planet. If we start killing them, if we start hanging them and we don't like them in our planet, is that racism?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're the alien race, right? Or they're an alien race. I mean, we're the human race.
Right.
So they're not our race. So we're discriminating against them.
Right. And so another question is if I'm going way in the future. Well, actually not that far, but
debatably, potentially in the past.
Artificial intelligence. Let's say we build shit to the point where, they're flesh like humans.
Yeah.
And they can think like humans and they have emotions and they have this and that.
They become
to
their
the
own
point
kind of
where
thing.
now they start wanting independent thoughts, independent feelings. Do robots' lives matter?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Are robot rights thing?
Okay.
And if we take action towards them, is that racism? The robotic race.
Yeah. Have you seen, I think it's a Black Mirror episode. Have you seen it? I think it's about this. It's either a Black Mirror episode or it's an entire movie. I think it's an entire movie.
Well, there's a video game based on it.
There is. What is it called?
I don't know what it's called.
Fuck.
But it's pretty cool.
Is it called Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Yeah, there's a video game based on it. And I thought that was so interesting.
Dude, there's I've seen
We're so part of the gaming community.
Fucking I've seen parts of that game. But there's a fucking movie, and I think
is it iRobot?
No. It's I think that's
Machinima or whatever it's called.
What? No.
Makima or whatever it's called.
No. I forget. I forget what it's called.
Okay.
Maybe I'll find it. But essentially, it covers the exact same thing. Well, I guess I can get into it just a little bit. Basically, the premise is, at first, the movie. Wait, I'll spoil it if I get into it, so I won't get into it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I do want you to see it, and I'd be down to watch together. So
Okay.
we'll fucking leave it.
Okay.
Anyways, but that's another question, and we could actually get into that if you wanted to. Will, like, in the event that AI become sentient and become kind of their own fucking thing, what are the ethics, right?
Right.
But we'll finish this. Yeah, so defining racism. So there's two ways we can do this. Now, there's a way that I would want to do this. And this is how I would want to kind of go about everything in reference to like our podcast, which is essentially we just give our definition, because we can like spend the entire fucking, we can go on and on about like what the world believes and what the world thinks, but ultimately this is about us. Like, let's be honest. So I think we should say should come
philosophy.
up with. Well, yes, it is, but it's our views on philosophy.
Right.
And so I would say that let us define it, right?
Okay.
I think I have a pretty clear definition in my head, which is essentially it's all intent based. So you kind of covered actions as well as verbal discrimination, but in reality, I don't think you can decide whether someone or something is racist unless you can really understand the intent behind it, right? So yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, if I call my Asian friend a chink, or if I call you a beaner or a wetback, which I've done before,
Yes, you have.
I'm obviously not fucking racist, man.
Right.
Like, I'm obviously not racist, but I'm saying some racist things. Am I suddenly racist? No, I'm not fucking racist. So I wouldn't say that that's racism. Like, I don't think that I did something racist. I wouldn't say that I did something racist. And I guess that's up for debate, because you can be like, okay, let me think about this. Can an action be something even if you don't stand for it? I think maybe a good this is so controversial, but I don't give a fuck. If you suck a guy's dick but you aren't into it, are you gay? Okay, wait, no. If you suck a guy's dick but you aren't into it, you're not gay. But is that thing that you did gay?
That's hard to answer, because like, what is gay?
Gay is liking the same sex. Right?
Liking, right?
Yeah, being sexually attracted to the same sex, right? Like, wouldn't that be the definition?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. But I don't think that makes you gay because you didn't like it or you weren't attracted to it. You just sucked a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're not gay because you sucked a dick, but is that action gay? Can a non-gay person do something gay? Or is their actions inherently non-gay because they're not gay? You know what I mean?
Is their actions inherently
It's kind of the question of like, if you do something evil but you're not an evil person, can that thing actually be evil?
Right. It's
like,
kind of like the concept of like, how do you know until you try it?
No. It's like, we are entities and we are creators and producers as humans. So whatever we are is our actions, by association, an extension of us.
Okay.
Or are they their own thing?
Gotcha. So
you get what I mean?
is it essentially a manifestation that we've created, like because we are who we are our own identity, and we labeled things as gay and this and that?
Yeah.
Or are they just like this objective absolute truth or not of what is gay and what is not?
Exactly.
Right. And
exactly.
it's the first one. It's
so you believe that our actions are an extension of us, and therefore they're defined by who is doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you believe that?
Oh man, this is going to like completely other territory, but it's
It is,
essentially
but fuck it, that's the point.
It's because dualities exist.
Okay. Go into it.
And because of dualities, like you
define dualities.
A duality is something as left and right, yin and yang,
Good and bad.
good and bad,
So
up and down.
okay. So the existence of okay. I'm understanding what a duality is. So how does the existence of dualities prove that? Not that you have to prove yourself, but you kind of do. I don't want you to feel like you have to prove yourself, but I'm asking you to prove yourself. But how does that prove that that we as people, that the actions that we do are an extension of us?
Because those, like, it's not written somewhere that sucking a dick is gay. Someone just said that it's gay.
I mean, yeah, but hypothetically, if it was written somewhere, someone would have just been saying that, but just saying that in writing.
Right. No, but like,
You know?
like there isn't like a huge sign in space.
Yeah,
like
we
like that. The universe hasn't created a definition of what gay is. It just is.
That's true.
And because of that, right? Like think of all the knowledge that we know, right? Like those were created by humans. Right? And I'm not saying dualities are bad. I'm not saying, no, we need dualities because we need a sense of direction. Because if we don't have dualities, if we don't know where our left and right is, we'd get fucking lost. But if you don't believe in dualities, well, it's like, okay, this is my left and this is my right. But to you guys, this would be your right and this is my left. That's the same thing as a yin and yang, where it's the things where those little dots that you see, right, behind the entire color, those are like the exceptions, right? And the exception would be that this is right here my left, but to you that's your right. That's the little white dot, if that makes any sense, right? And so dualities exist because we need to know how to get through life. And so this ties into, will racism ever cease to exist? And it's essentially, I guess you could say racism is, it's created by us. It is manifested for who we are. Reasons, I mean, I think it would have to do through like survival instincts and judgment and evolution. Just for survival instincts.
Yeah, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head with survival instincts. It's very innate for us to, we have our group, we have our people, and things that are outside of the group just can't be trusted. They're not us, right? Yeah. And so we have to be wary of them, and then we begin to judge them, because ultimately, if we're not acting as someone else, then it
brings in fear.
Well, no, it essentially, I mean, here's the way I view it, and this is something that I think about in life very often. If you aren't acting like someone else, you essentially don't believe that that's how one should act, right?
Right.
So, like, obviously, like, ideally, you're doing everything that you believe is good, and you're not doing everything you believe is bad.
Right.
And so, if someone's doing something that you're not doing, they're doing something bad.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is good, right? What I'm doing is good, and they're not doing that, so it must be bad. Which it makes total fucking sense that racism's a thing, because it's like, well, I got my pants on correctly. This dude's fucking sagging. Mm-hmm. That's bad. Mm-hmm. And I kind of fucking agree, but that's not my place to define it for them. But
it would be annoying for me to constantly put
hey, also it's like, bro, what
for me, it's
what if you fucking run? Like, you can't run. Also, like, when you fart, that shit there's so little, oh my God, so much less filtration.
Dude, what if you think you fart but then you sharted your pants?
Oh,
and
God,
then everybody's gonna know.
Everybody's gonna know, everybody's gonna smell it. And the thing is, like, people are gonna smell it no matter what, but it's just one less fucking layer.
Leave a shart experience in the comments below. We want to know.
Yeah. Actually, I can't remember if I have one. I have to have one, but I can't remember it.
Oh, man. I think I've had one before. But it wasn't even a shart. It was just like a genuine poop.
Like in your pants? Oh, God.
Like I had to go, and I just couldn't hold it any longer. And we had to go to the park. And
how old are you?
I was like 17.
Oh no.
I was way too old for this shit. And then I was like,
Oh my God,
and it wasn't
dude.
like, oh God, I'm sorry if you guys like eating or anything. This is kind of be gross, but this
Suck
is
it
like,
up, pussies.
gross warning. So gross warning. But
Suck
anyways,
it up, pussies.
it wasn't like diarrhea or anything. Like, no, it was just like a genuine poop. and I was like, I have to go, and I couldn't hold it. And I was like getting up to leave. As soon as I got up, I was like, oh.
This is like freshman, sophomore year, bro.
Okay, no. So then it was in middle school. It was in middle school.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, like, I don't know, I'm just using my own life, but I was 13 as a freshman, but I was a year younger, so 14 as a freshman, 15 sophomore.
Oh, so it stop. No, no.
Yeah,
no.
you had to have been like,
it was middle school.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
I got my age wrong, unless if I'm lying. Anyways,
All right, yeah.
Will racism ever cease to exist?
Okay, so defining racism.
Right.
I kind of already gave my definition, but just to kind of recap, my definition is basically what is the intent behind someone. Yeah, and I think now that I think about it, I haven't fully developed my thoughts on whether or not actions are an extension of us or actions are their own thing. But I can't say something conclusive right now. I just haven't thought about it enough. But I think that I am leaning towards you being like agreeing with you because of the fact that I'm sorry that I'm so fucking burpy. I'm leaning towards agreeing with you because of the fact that I do believe that intent overrides everything, and intent comes from within. And therefore, if intent overrides actions, then that means that
Is within.
well, I mean, it essentially is agreeing with you. Yeah. So I would say that racism is essentially, this is gonna be crazy. Anything, whether it be a thought or an action, at all, that is fueled by you believing that a race is inferior to another race. Or superior. But,
Right.
you know, basically anything against the belief that all races are equal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so do you think it will cease to exist then? Knowing that definition.
Yeah, I do.
Interesting.
Firstly, do you agree with my definition?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
So
I do.
so if you do, then we can move on.
Yeah.
So yes, I do believe that it will cease to exist because I think that first off, I'm not sure that this like thought or concept is actually like holds any actual weight, but I kind of believe that if you can progress, because of the progress that I've seen, if one person, I mean, part of me feels like if one person can be converted from racist to not racist, then everybody can. Part of me also knows that like that's one person isn't everybody. People are different, and so that's just not the case. But I also understand that like racism is very generational too.
Oh.
And so it's like all of the racism that exists nowadays is generational. Like I don't think anybody nowadays has come to the conclusion themselves that like my race is superior or this race is inferior. I think it's been kind of taught to them. And that's a very important distinction to make because it basically means that there was a point in time in which nobody was taught to be racist. They just decided to be racist. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I mean just to, drop the fucking super technical definitions and shit, I don't see how we could go on forever. I don't see how racism won't end. I mean, ultimately, the thing is the way things are happening currently is not how it's going to be done. I personally think that if and when racism will cease to exist, it's going to happen through conversation, 100%. Because ultimately, the only reason why racism has ceased to exist any more or any more or less than it has in the past is because of enlightenment, and not like spiritual enlightenment, though that may be a factor, but just kind of education and understanding and widened perspectives.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially it's just like realizing that the other person, like realizing that like, oh, this person's culture is a certain way, it's just different.
Yeah.
Or realizing
No,
that
exactly.
like, I don't know, man, at the end of the day, all it fucking takes is someone, this has happened to me multiple times growing up, someone talking to me over the internet. They don't fucking see my skin color. They're just talking to me, bro. I've talked to so many white, Hispanic, Indian, etc., people, random fucking people, Asian people. Just talk to them. And then one day, it just comes up in conversation somehow, and they learn that I'm black. And they're like, what the fuck, you're black? Like, it's just a fucking shock. Because, like, generally speaking, and I feel like I talk more ethnic nowadays than I used to. But, like, generally speaking, I do talk very, like, straightforward. I don't talk with, like, much of an accent. And so it's, like, it's pretty much just like white guy, right? Like basic American accent, right? Especially the Californian accent. So that's not very easily labeled by race. And essentially, like, when you realize that, and you can have multiple conversations with a person, not know their race, and you can have like you can develop a relationship with someone, not know their race. At the end of it, like, you learn that it doesn't matter. You learn that the race doesn't matter. It's all about the environment that they grew up in. It's all about the culture. And that really, I really think that the majority of people nowadays that are racist aren't actually even racist. They just don't like certain cultures. And like, people don't understand the difference. And that kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is really defining, like, is it racist or is it like a prejudice against a culture? Not that that's even necessarily good, but I think, quite honestly, I don't think it's all that bad. I don't think it's very villainous or evil to dislike a culture. There's cultures that I don't like, simply put, because of their morals, because of the way that they conduct themselves, and you know, when I engage with people of these certain cultures, I do like encourage myself to extend myself, to widen my perspective, to understand that these people are only the way that they are because of their environment, not because they're like fucking bad people or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my answer. What about yours?
Yeah. So I feel like you kind of. Well, I feel like you kind of contradicted yourself a little bit, because you said your definition of racism is basically like the intent, right? Or what was it again?
Yeah,
and
my
also
definition.
the thought as well.
Well, okay. My definition is essentially the intent behind the actions and or thoughts, but the intent itself would be. Would have to be coming from a place of belief that not all races are equal.
Okay.
I know that wasn't very fucking clear, but essentially,
no, but then you were saying
racism is the belief that not all races are equal.
And disliking a culture is not racism, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think that's racism.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because you're not saying that I don't like them because I'm black, because they're black. You're saying I don't like them because of their culture, which just happens to be primarily black people. But like, there's Hispanics who act just like a black person, right? I mean, you take Eminem. How many fuckers didn't like him because he was like acting like a black person?
Yeah, no,
he wasn't acting like a black person. He was being Marshall Mathers.
Yeah.
He grew up in a fucking black neighborhood.
Yeah.
So he's acting like he's acting. That's just him.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's acting like a black person. He's acting like him. This is how he fucking grew up.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, go back to the other point where you were saying that you were disliking like cultures and everything. You know, like, I feel like also people forget that racism is just like all over the world.
oh, for
Like,
sure.
racism happens all over the world. I mean, for example, Mexicans do not like El Salvadorians. Like, Mexicans do not. And I mean, I'm Mexican and I like them. I mean, I think they're chill. But like, it's really popular. And now they don't like Guatemalans too, because they're trying to get into the borders of Mexico.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, look at the history between the Chinese and the Japanese. I mean, the Chinese hate the Japanese. I mean, I'm not sure for now, but previously,
Bro, and Koreans don't like fucking... Bro, Koreans don't like Chinese. Koreans don't like Taiwanese,
right?
like Koreans.
I mean, racism is just everywhere,
Yeah.
or this mindset of disliking a culture.
Exactly, disliking a culture, because again, I think the vast majority, man, I personally feel like anybody would be very hard pressed to find someone who's genuinely racist, genuinely believes that races aren't all equal, essentially.
I mean, they're out there.
I know that they're out there, but I'm saying you'd be hard pressed to find them. I don't know anybody who's fucking racist, man.
I feel like it wouldn't be that hard. Like, I feel like it'd be kind of hard, but not that hard.
How would you even go about fucking doing it?
It's like, I don't know, talk to a KKK member or something like that. Go to Alabama and just
dude, I swear to fucking God, dude, I feel like you'd talk to a KKK member and you'd be like, why don't you like black people? And they'd be like, well, I don't like this, and this. And it's like, oh, these are all ways that they act. This has nothing to do with them being black. It has everything to do with what they do, not who they are.
Interesting.
Like, essentially.
So you're just saying, like, by skin color, essentially. Like, hating a race because of their skin color.
Yeah, exactly. Hating a race because what you believe their skin color is indicative of.
Right, but then here's another thing. Racism. So does that? Because see, I gotta look this up.
What were you gonna look at? What?
Well, definition of racism, because Google has brought up some interesting definitions, because they also brought religion into it. For example, was Hitler racist? They hated the Jews.
Yeah. I would say that. I would say that he. Okay, first off, let me just fucking, asterisk that I'm not actually that fucking knowledgeable about history, but this is my belief. Yes, he was racist. He was racist because he believed that Jews were inferior because of, like, just naturally. I mean, he believed in an Aryan race, that his race was just better. Like, they're just better, innately, inherently better.
Okay.
And that is racism at its core. It's the belief that you're like, a race is just better than a different race. Now, I know that there was religious parts of it, but I believe it was like a race, like a racial thing. Like, obviously, like, religion's something that you adopt. A race is something you're born into. Like, you can't decide your race, but you can kind of decide your religion, right?
Yeah.
True. So, yeah, and people, like, I don't think he was stopping people and being like, yo, do you believe in Judaism? He was like, you're not a fucking German.
Yeah, well, no, because he did go after gypsies, Russian prisoners, what else? There's just Polish and just other people as well.
Exactly.
That considered, and he had a whole thing, dude. Like, the whole propaganda was like, whoa, like, he made a diagram of what makes a Jew and, like, broke it down.
And what do you remember? Do you know any?
No,
okay.
But it was just like this, like, list of, like, branches. It's like, if they have this characteristic, if they have this character. I mean, it was in German. I couldn't read it, but
yeah.
But it was just like, this was what makes a Jew, and then, like, that would be considered.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think actions actually. I'm gonna kind of backtrack, but it's not gonna be contradictory. It's just gonna be a clarification. I do think actually actions and characteristics can, like, I think that they can be partially within racism, but I think it's if you believe that a certain race has to act a certain way too. So, like, if you don't like black people because they're fucking obnoxious and rowdy, and you believe that because you're black you're going to do this thing, because you're black you're going to steal, right? Well, you're fucking black, of course you're going to steal, right? And you believe it's because they're black, not because of the culture that they grew up in, then I think that's racist. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, and you can look up whatever you're going to look up, but ultimately, I believe racism is rooted in something innate, something that you're born into. Actually, fuck it, born with, because you can be born into a culture, but you can't be born with a culture. I guess you kind of fucking can. Point is, right? Your race is something that's defined at birth. Your culture is not. I mean, you could be born in the middle of fucking of Compton, and then, only be there for 2 days and then get shipped over to fucking, Morocco.
Okay.
Totally different fucking cultures. And so obviously, like, being born into that culture doesn't define you, but you're still your race.
Right.
So anyways, yeah, you want to look it up?
Oh, yeah. racism wrong, or is it not?
Racism. Racism.
So, can you read that?
Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. Exactly. So it's actions, or I mean, you could say thoughts, but fuck it. It's action. It's any kind of negative actions towards someone who, based on the belief, and this is the important fucking part. Doing something to a black person does not mean you're racist against black people. Obviously, people know this, but doing something, even if you do something specifically to black people, even if you pull over every single black person you see, that's not inherently racist. It seems like it is, but that does not mean that they're a racist person. They may just be really suspicious of every black person in their fucking environment because they go to the fucking black neighborhoods and they see that those are the people cooking crack. Like, it's not inherently racist until you can pinpoint that the belief, or that it's based on the belief that one's race is superior or inferior, essentially believing that not all races are equal. That is the I guess quintessence of racism.
Interesting. So there is a belief that essentially like the white people are oppressing the black, and that's considered racism.
You mean like in today's culture?
Yeah, like that's the whole
yeah
thing.
People are under the impression that the actions themselves are racist, and you know what, probably a lot of them are. I mean, honestly,
yeah, they are.
The thing is like racial profiling, even racial profiling, by the way, isn't inherently racist. It's prejudice, though. But it isn't inherently racist. That doesn't mean that it's not still bad. It's just not racist. And that's something that, like, it's nitpicky, it's semantic-y, it's kind of grimy. A lot of people might fucking hate the fact that I'm even, like, feeling the need to outline this shit. But it's important that we, like, actually know what the fuck we're talking about. And we actually can label people with their actual real fucking labels. Because calling someone racist because they pull over only black people, it's just not fucking accurate. Unless we know that they just think black people are inferior. Like, innately inferior. Because there's more reasons behind shit. And like ultimately, like I'm gonna get a little fucking ranty right now, but ultimately this is my fucking issue with the way that we're going about everything in today's society. It's that we're not looking at intent, we're looking at actions. My fucking ex did the same fucking thing. We had multiple fucking conversations about this because I would do something or she would do something, but usually I would do something, she wouldn't like it. I would try to explain my reason behind doing it, and this wouldn't be to justify me doing it. This would be to enlighten her of what my perspective is, what my intent was, so that she knows that I wasn't doing something with malicious intent. I was just doing something out of pure fucking ignorance that it would have a certain effect on her. And this is fucking important because I could look at everything that she did that I didn't like and understand, okay, that's fine, because your intent was good. She couldn't do the same to me. And because of that, the relationship fell apart. Now, that's fucking fine. It's okay. But the point is, our relationship as a society works the same fucking way. And if we just look at the actions, this person did something bad. I don't like what this person's doing. I don't like what this person's saying, etc., etc. And we just look at the actions, and we fucking criticize the actions, and we don't like the actions, and then we take our own fucking actions, and it's against them, which is fucking, I don't think this is political, but like the protests are fucking stupid. And like it's the most hot take ever. It's the most controversial take ever, but it's fucking stupid. Like nobody's gonna listen to you when you're fucking shouting with the sign. Nobody fucking cares. You look at the fucking police, they don't fucking care, bro. They're just there because they have to be fucking there. Like nobody fucking cares. It's not gonna change anybody's mind. I guarantee you, if someone's fucking racist, they're not gonna see a mob of black people shouting at racist people and think, you know what, those black people are right. I should start thinking better of them. No! They're gonna fucking look at you like, God damn, the fucking dumbass niggers. The fucking dumbass niggers doing their nigger shit, of course. Because you're not fucking talking to them. You're not talking with them, you're talking to them. Yeah. And that's not how you resolve conflict. You have to talk with someone.
Yeah.
And that's really at the core of like what the fuck is wrong with all of this shit. It's like nobody's talking to each other. Nobody's talking with each other. We're talking to each other. So yeah, and we're not getting at intent, we're getting at actions, and we're just fucking throwing labels on people before we understand anything about their background, anything about their beliefs. I know I'm fucking ranting my ass off.
Yeah, no.
I'm fucking done. I'll stop forever. What?
I don't think we can post that.
Really?
Really?
Why not?
We got really political. We totally got off the philosophical.
But
side.
is that political?
Like I don't know. I'm getting a gut feeling right now, and I don't think we can like keep. I mean, we can keep going, but we just need to. Like I don't know, dude. I just have a gut feeling right now. I'm just
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like
okay. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Fuck it. Let's get into it. First off, worst thing that can happen by me using that word is that the video gets demonetized.
Okay.
I'm not fucking making money anyway, so who cares, right?
Right, but
Okay.
but it could blow up and go against us,
Bro. So, and here's something that I decided. I made this conscious decision before I decided to willingly put my opinion out into the universe.
right?
I understand that things that I say can be easily taken out of context and skewed and twisted. Ultimately, I have to accept that and either decide I'm going to remain silent or I'm going to speak. I decided I'm going to speak. And if someone would like to take my words and my opinion out of context, they can. But ultimately, there's nothing that I did wrong.
Okay.
I don't believe anything that I did wrong.
And
I don't believe that I did anything wrong.
I agree with you, but they don't.
That's okay. You know what I like. You know what I would like to happen.
What?
I would like people who don't agree with me, people who don't think like us or whatever. You know, they don't have to think like us, but people who disagree with me, I would like them to tell me that they disagree with me, and then I would love. Fuck it, man. We could do a live show, go on some Discord type shit, have people call in, and we can talk to them. Because ultimately, this is the fucking issue, and this is very fucking political, but I don't fucking care anymore because we're fucking on it. Let's not post it because it's controversial. Fuck it, man. Let's open a dialogue. Like, let's just start opening dialogue.
But Jordan, are they willing to talk?
It's okay if they're not willing to talk. If they're not willing to talk, they don't have to fucking talk. They can continue shouting at us. But someone's got to fucking talk, right?
And I get that, but I don't think you understand. I feel like you're underestimating the damage.
Perhaps, but okay, then explain to me the extent of the damage.
Okay,
let's really outline
I'll
it.
give you an example. So there was a self-help program that I was watching. And these guys are known as, they're like pickup guys. Okay, and pickup is controversial. And so this guy was basically saying, like, when you're at a club, you can just like grab a girl by the hands and just like grab her ass, and it's okay, and like finger her or whatever, like or something like that. And I mean, if you're really advanced in game, sure, you can do that, and you know how to like not get away with it, but like execute it and not get in trouble. And he got painted as like a whole bunch of people just called him as like the worst man in the world, and constant hate letters, like Twitter posts, and just everybody was fucking bashing on him every day for weeks, for months. He lost all his sponsorships. He lost all credibility. He fucking went broke because no one wanted to pay him. The company struggled because they were representing to him, and so people did not buy. People were going against the company. People were going against the whole thing. And because of that, the company literally lost hundreds of millions of dollars to the point where they were so limited on putting out content. Now they surpassed. They overcome that adversity.
Of course they did.
Right, because they're fucking G's.
Well, are you talking about them or the companies?
The company.
Yeah, I mean, it's not because it's G's. It's just because I don't think people care ultimately that much.
Right. And then people are going to blow up and it's going to breeze over.
Exactly. People don't fucking actually care that much. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just scared of that.
Yeah. So when I, this is going to come off cunty. When I said define or like actually like show me what the actual repercussions will be. Like I want to go into literally what our repercussions will be, because
Gotcha.
it's easy to see our situation, see how similar to another situation it is, and worry that we're going to live out that exact situation.
True.
But we have to actually look at, because it's not the same situation and we're not the same people and this isn't the same environment.
Right.
And we don't have sponsors. Like ultimately, like something that I think is really beautiful. I mean, fuck, there's so much shit that I can cover. Like, firstly, I would rather, if this were to become anything of gravity, I would rather build a foundation on what is true to me and what I genuinely believe, rather than build a foundation on something else, build an audience on that other thing, and then maybe one day I wake up and realize, oh shit, I want to be the real me today.
Right.
And I can't, because all these people don't want the real me. They want the me that I've been presenting, because that's the me that they'll accept.
Gotcha.
So, and then there's more to this shit. Like, okay, you want to go into the sponsors, you want to go into your life is being ruined, you want to go into the hate. First off, if someone's not going to harm me, if all it is their fucking words, okay, like it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Right. But obviously when we get into like, I can't provide for myself, like I can't fucking eat because all of my sources of income are now shut off because of the things that I've done. If that's the fucking case, then I'll be honest. First off, I don't see it getting that bad, just generally speaking.
Right.
But if let's say that it did get that bad, you know what, man, I'm honestly kind of willing to accept it. Quite honestly, I'm genuinely willing to accept it. Really? Because I don't see any other fucking way to do this shit, man. Like, and I think this is just a core part of my personality, but like, what the fuck am I doing on this earth if I'm going to cower in fear? Like, if something, I mean, this is literally like such a perfect representation of what I'm saying. Let's say that because of what I've said and because of the beliefs that I've shared, now I get crucified, I lose my job, I lose all of my future opportunities, and I'm fucked. My life is fucked. What does that mean? That means that instead of anybody saying that, hey, this guy's wrong, let's try to help him understand why he's wrong so that he can go on and be a good person, not a bad person. Instead of that, they said, fuck him. He can't work in this society. Fuck him. Like, that doesn't get us anywhere. I'm just going to fucking die off. And I guess that's fine. Like, I guess that's going to achieve what they want to achieve in the end. But, like, I don't think people want me to die. Do they? I don't. Do you? Do you want me to fucking die? Do you want me to starve?
I feel like they'll say that, but they don't mean it. You know
For
what
sure,
I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, that's the problem with the fucking. That's one problem with the fucking culture. It's like we say things and we don't fucking mean them, and we're fucking emotionally charged, and so we say things, but we don't actually fucking mean it. And everybody, like, you know, you see, like, so many people want that fucking cop to die, but then they also don't think that it's anybody's place to take another life, and it's like, okay, then why do you want him to die? Fuck are you talking about? You know, and it's just like, this is getting way too fucking political now. But essentially what I'm getting at is, I think I'm okay with whatever the repercussions are for what I've said, because what the outcome should be is that I get educated and I become elevated. That's what the outcome should be. If I'm wrong in my beliefs, I should be told that I'm wrong so that I can grow as a person. And if I'm right, then I think that me being right will potentially educate or enlighten someone else.
Okay.
And either way, we fucking win. As a human race, we win. I either improve or someone else improves. And we win. It's a win-win situation. And that's ideally.
Right.
Or I get fucked over and I learn. But then again, learning is good. So we all fucking, it's a win-win-win.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, for me, it's like, you know what? What if, because I'm also involved.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. If you're not comfortable with it, then I say that we shouldn't do it.
And dude, you know what? I'm on the same boat with you. Because honestly, I think it will catch up with us. Because like, if we do blow up,
for sure,
they can easily find it and then
for sure
put that shit out.
For sure.
But I don't know, dude. I got a family. I know you do too.
I don't. But the thing is, I fucking don't. And you're completely right. I fucking don't have a family. And I'm not really sure how this would affect your family, because I don't think you have any mouths to feed yet.
But I'm talking about my parents and my sister.
I know, but how does this go to them?
It does.
How?
It does, because literally, if it blows up, if it goes viral, then everyone I know, my social circle, is gonna know. Meaning that, oh, you're Armando's brother. you're the one who was on that podcast with that dude and this and this and that, and then now it's affecting them because
but no, wait, how? Okay, wait. I'm missing the link. I understand how it's possible that I can affect them, but like, who's going to reach out to your brother and say, "Hey, your brother said something I don't agree with, or endorsed someone who said something I don't agree with, and so now I don't like you"?
This is the thing, dude. You're underestimating the damage.
It's not that I'm underestimating it. It's that, like, let's fucking see this damage so that we can pick it apart. Like, okay. And by the way, again, if you don't like this, I don't want you to post it. But I'm still going to argue my point. If someone fucking does that, man, what we need to do is say, so, like, we need to engage in dialogue. So you're saying that you don't want to associate with this separate person because he's associated with another separate person who's associated with someone who you don't like.
Yeah.
And then we can talk to them and we can say, why is that? Do you really think that because this person likes aspects of this person who likes No, not even fucking like. Your brother may not even fucking like you. We don't even know that. Just because your brother is born to the same fucking bloodline, doesn't have control over that, by the way, has no fucking control, which means it says nothing about their character. Just because they're born in the same bloodline as someone who likes certain aspects of me, that suddenly means this person's fucking bad and this person, like, no. And if that person still agrees that yes, it does mean this person's bad, I don't fucking know. At that point, then we have to see where we can go from there.
But here's the thing. Out of the 7 billion people in the world, there are people who see it that way.
Yeah, there are. And I guess what I'm saying is, do we have to settle for the fact that they are so ignorant? Or can we potentially build on it and improve the way that people think? Because, and that's, I guess that's essentially my entire issue. Do we have to settle for this shit? Do we have to settle for because, by the way, if we do, my answer to that question changes. By the way, if we do have to settle for the way people think, yes, racism will exist forever. I promise you. I fucking promise you, it will never cease to exist if we have to settle for how people think. But if we don't, and we can engage in dialogue, then we can change people's minds. We can educate them. We can enlighten them. And then the species as a whole can evolve. So I guess the question is, would you like to challenge racism or not? I mean, obviously that's not what.
No,
but, you know.
That's fine. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking, is it worth the family's risk? That's it.
Yeah, for
sure.
Is
it worth it?
Yeah, for sure. And I but the thing is, you have to genuinely take in. I don't want to say you have to, because I really do want you to not do something you're uncomfortable with. But I feel like you have to take in the realistic risk at hand. Just weigh out the pros and cons. I mean, ultimately, the pros of this could be very minimal for some big cons, technically. But the cons, the way I see it, are very minimal for some big possible pros. So, I mean, it is what it is. You have to weigh out your own pros and cons, but those are the ones that I see. But then again, like, in many ways, I'm a sociopathic fucking asshole who really only cares about himself. So, like, this is coming from someone who, like, sees the world through, like, a very, like, me-centric way of viewing things. Kind of. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I mean, ultimately, if you're uncomfortable with it, I would just encourage you to think it over the next fucking week, which is when it would go live.
Because I'm trying to think of all the bad things that, like, people have gotten blown up for. And it's usually not that word. It's usually like faggot, gay, like gay jokes, transsexual jokes, you know, all these things. But I have yet to see something come up of that word.
I mean, yeah, this is getting really fucking meta and sceney, but PewDiePie, H3H3, fucking...
Do they all say that?
I mean, they have, yeah. And they've gotten fucking canceled, and then, would you look at that? They're still growing, and they're still making a full-time living.
Wait, really?
Yes, bro. You want to look this shit up? Yeah. PewDiePie said that shit live on stream. He was playing... I'm gonna fucking say it. He was playing live on stream, and somebody killed him. He said, "Oh, what a fucking nigger."
Whoa, really?
Yeah, bro. And it was a big thing. And then it wasn't. And then nobody fucking cared because everybody believes shit, but they don't actually fucking believe it. Like, and that's the fucking crazy thing. Everybody, they think they believe shit, but if you actually believe something, it's going to carry with you. You're going to continue to believe it until your mind is changed. Nobody's mind got changed about the way that they think about that word. It's just they don't actually fucking have a concrete belief in that the word is bad, and so they fucking forget about it. They give up about it, and I'm fucking ranting my ass off.
No, that's so true. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, and so, and that kind of fucking goes into all this, man. It's like, ultimately, one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this to begin with is the potential to change people's minds, or the potential to enlighten people.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, I already saw this as something that was inevitable. I saw that inevitably I would say some controversial shit, and I would possibly face some backlash. I didn't know if it would happen on the second episode or the 20,000th episode, but I figured it'd probably happen at some point. And I guess I already came to terms with the fact that it's probably going to happen, and I may have to answer for what I do. But I'll be fucking damned if I apologize for something that I genuinely don't think is wrong, and I'll be damned if I don't try to actually get to the bottom of what is right and wrong with what I did. Because if I actually am in the wrong, then I'll apologize. But if I'm not, then I want to continually open a dialogue until we can come to an agreement. Because I don't see a reason why humans can't agree.
Okay, so then, like, what about the, like, when the QXXC and, like, PewDiePie said that, did they apologize?
I think PewDiePie apologized for using the word. I mean, yeah, they both apologized. They both essentially apologized, yes.
Question is, did they apologize because people just wanted them to apologize, or did they apologize because they were wrong?
We'll never know. I would assume that they apologized because people wanted them to.
But meaning that their shit was okay.
I would say that they're totally okay with what they did, because it doesn't take a fucking intelligent human to think about, well, am I racist? Well, do I think black people are inferior? Of course not. Okay, then I don't think what I did was bad, but it did offend people, therefore it is bad. And that goes into a whole nother fucking discussion. But essentially, yeah, I don't believe that they actually thought what they did was wrong. I think that they just understand that, like, they don't want to hurt people's feelings, and so they think that the hurting people's feelings part is wrong, which I guess in a way is them thinking what they did was wrong. But I don't think they actually felt apologetic for what they did. I think they felt apologetic for the effects of their actions,
right?
Not their actual actions.
And so, in your case, you wouldn't apologize if you weren't wrong.
No. I wouldn't. I would potentially apologize for anybody's feelings I hurt. Yeah, I would.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Oh.
Potentially. I would definitely potentially apologize for anybody's feelings I hurt. But, I mean, that goes into another massive philosophy that I have, which is that, I mean, our culture is going towards accommodating people's feelings who are hurt instead of asking the people's feelings who are hurt, hey, why are your feelings hurt? And then maybe helping them understand the intent behind our actions. Because again, I can sit here and I can say nigger, and someone can say, ouch, that hurt me. But then I okay, well, did it hurt you? Like, are you actually hurt? And they can say, well, yeah, I'm emotionally damaged. And I can say, well, why are you emotionally damaged? And they can go into how their grandmother, this and that. And then I can say, well, you know, I'm really sorry about that. But I think ultimately, I think ultimately it might be your job to learn how to process emotional scars and learn how to grow after your traumas. And I do apologize that I did ignite that trauma, but I don't apologize for the fact that I've ignited it, because I mean, it's potentially it potentially gives insight for your own room for growth.
Interesting.
I mean, because ultimately the way I see it is any negative emotion that we feel is our problem. It's our burden.
Right.
That's something that that's a conclusion that I came to many fucking years ago. I remember very vividly. I was walking in the fucking dead of the fucking Vacavilian heat, right? It was like 102-degree day. I was walking home from like community college, and I fucking hated my circumstances. I hated my situation so fucking much. I'm carrying this heavy ass backpack around with all this fucking school supplies. I don't give a fuck about what I'm learning. I don't give a fuck about where I'm going, and I don't give a fuck about what I'm doing. And I was just like so me. I felt so bad for myself. And then I sat there and I realized nobody owes me anything. Nobody's entitled. Oh, and by the way, this was also when my father had promised to get me a car, and then he said the only thing that I needed to do was get my license. I finally did get my license, and he said, "Oh, I didn't realize that I'd have to pay for, et cetera, et cetera. I can't get you a car." And so I also felt lied to. But that also plays into part of the reason why I came to the realization that nobody owes me anything. I'm not entitled to anything on this earth. If I get shanked in the middle of the fucking street, that's fair. It's fair fucking game. Because he doesn't owe me my life. Like nobody is entitled to anything. It's fair fucking game. And, ideally we can not shank each other.
Yeah.
But as long as we live a life of entitlement, we're going to live a life of disappointment. When we look at our fucking lives and we pretend that there's some good, that there's some justice that we're entitled to, that we're owed, that people are supposed to act a certain way, we are going to continually be disappointed. Continually. How do we avoid this disappointment? We confront and accept the fact that this person does not owe me XYZ. Nobody owes me their agreement with my decisions, but I also don't owe them my agreement with their decisions. And so I think ultimately the only way that racism will end, the only way that all this social justice bullshit will end, all of it is going to come down to us accepting that we're not entitled for other people to bend to our will. But
I got a lot to think about.
Yeah, it's a lot. And also I kind of feel bad about the fact that I suck up most of the fucking talking oxygen. Okay, good. Yeah, I kind of worried that I might have way too fucking much to say, because what's really interesting is, well,
no, I mean it's fine. I'm just thinking.
For sure,
I'm not
for sure.
in like
podcast
mode right now.
For sure, and I respect that, and I think that you should do that. I think that you should take the time to develop your thoughts, to develop your opinions, because I think that is more valuable than providing entertainment.
Yeah.
Or contributing to some conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're thinking.
Tell you what, we'll just finish this segment, and then if you just want to do another podcast after this, and then I can put this podcast to the side, and then I'll let you...
the hidden deleted podcast.
Yeah, the hidden, and then I'll let you know if I want to upload
for sure.
You know
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
All right, so we'll just finish this.
Yeah.
Will racism ever cease to exist?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if I'm gonna have to cut that out or not, or
what?
This whole part.
Oh, I mean, you can pause it, replay it. We can resync it. Fucking do all that shit.
No, I'm talking about like, just like what we just talked about.
What part of it?
Because we kind of like.
Oh, you mean like when we broke the fourth wall and talked about what it...
yeah, we broke the fourth wall.
Fuck it. I mean, I don't know. Fuck it.
Fuck it, yeah.
Who cares? I mean, ultimately,
what the fuck
it makes it cooler when you get to experience the behind the scenes shit,
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
It provides authenticity.
Interesting. That's funny that you said that, like, because I kind of believe that like racism like won't ever stop existing.
So you are under the belief that essentially we have to submit to people's beliefs, or I guess submit to the fact that people won't change.
Kind of, but I think it's almost like racism will almost take a different form in the future. Is what I'm trying to say. Like what we consider racist now will not be in like 100 or like 1,000 years.
What form? I think I might agree with you, and I think that I might use your beliefs to prove my point. But before I do, what do you think it might change into?
I don't know. It would have to be really, really far, or it would have to be a really far and advanced mindset to the point where like racism would be almost be like a forgotten word. To the point, or maybe it will exist. It's just maybe just take a different word, or I don't know. It's because like there's different like levels of racism, kind of like what we just talked about, like discrimination and action. And so, like, how far does that go? How many levels are there? Because, like, if you notice, like, as like evolution, as society evolves and progresses, more problems come up. More like it's more like we're able to sit down and think about more of the mind, of more psychology.
Yeah, for sure.
More,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, this is almost like a fact of the universe. The
Right.
more you progress, the more adversity you are met with.
It's like the more you know, the more you don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
And so I think that applies to racism.
For every one answer, there's a fucking 1,000 questions.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like it's gonna get to the point where it's like, yeah, maybe this definition will stop, but that could manifest into multiple definitions in the future.
Yeah.
And will those stop? Will those cease to exist? And in those, exponential in a sense.
Yeah, I would say that I don't know enough about our universe to know if that would happen, but I mean, the question is, will racism manifest into something else potentially? Does that even mean that it's still racism? I don't know, because essentially, in order for something to be racist, there has to be defined races,
right?
And if ultimately, I think the way that we're headed as a human race is not seeing us as races, but seeing us as a human race.
Yeah.
And we're just fucking humans.
Yeah.
And so, and if that happens, then yeah, there might be a new level of racism.
Okay.
Like versus aliens or whatever the fuck. But
that was so loud.
The interesting thing about racism is I'm not so sure that racism. Whoa, dude, my mind just got fucking blown. Yo, okay, wait a minute. Fuck, this is so fucking crazy. Or maybe it's not, I'm just a fucking retard, but... Okay, think about... Racism's bad, right?
Right.
Okay, why is it bad?
It's immoral.
Okay, why is it immoral? What's wrong with racism? Why is it wrong?
Because it causes death, pain, and hurt.
Okay, but we cause death, pain, and hurt all the fucking time. If you've had meat in the past 24 hours, that's come from death, pain, and hurt.
Right.
Or ever in your life. Fuck the 24 hours. But yeah. So
it's used for hatred.
Okay. And why is hatred wrong?
It's a mutated form of love.
So is that saying that love is wrong?
Can be.
Why?
You can be in a toxic relationship of love.
Yeah, but love isn't the problem. It's the things outside of the love that are the problem. If it's a toxic relationship, right? Like me
exactly.
loving my ex didn't make the relationship toxic. It's the fact that we were both manipulative.
Well, then in that sense, racism isn't wrong. It's just the actions towards racism is wrong. It's the things outside of racism that's wrong.
Perhaps, but so the reason why I'm asking this is because perhaps racism isn't wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps it is wrong. So I'll tell you where my mind was going. I was thinking to myself, why is racism wrong? Because the belief that another race is inferior to another race is inherently wrong because they aren't. Okay? So if I were to think that Chinese people were inferior to all other races or just black people, that's incorrect because they can essentially, they're not inferior, right? We're equal, right? Like we could just agree on that.
Yeah.
So because of that being a foundational principle, we're both humans, therefore we are equal. Therefore, just because we're different races of human does not means that it's wrong to believe they're inferior. I know this is a long explanation, but I'm getting somewhere. What if one day we lose our sense of race, right? We all fucking reproduce a bunch of times and then suddenly you can't tell the difference from one person to another because Chinese and Indian and black, it all got mixed up over thousands of generations of sex, and now we all look the fucking same, which theoretically is inevitable. We're all going to look the same at some point.
Yeah.
So when that happens, we're just going to be a human race,
Right. Okay.
And let's say we encounter aliens and we become racist towards them because they're a different race. Instead of black versus white, it's human versus whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah.
Instead of white versus whatever the fuck these fucking
Race
monkeys
glib
are, right? What?
Race glib glob.
Exactly. So, and that got me thinking that, is that wrong or right? If I believe that racism is wrong,
Right.
then that means that's probably wrong.
Yeah.
But why is it wrong? And it makes you think, okay, well, it's wrong because you shouldn't believe that whatever alien race is inferior to your race. Mm-hmm. Well, why not? Because they could be superior or they could be inferior, right? Hypothetically, we're superior to beavers,
Right.
right? So we look down upon them. Dogs, cats, we're superior to them. So they're our pets, bro. We get them on leashes and put them in cages. That sounds like a slave to me. Yeah, and it just got me thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe there's something we don't understand about other species and races, and we just think that they're inferior, but they really fucking aren't. I mean, and ultimately this is proven by the fact that we can't swim nearly as good as a fucking fish. So obviously they're superior to us in some area. We can't climb nearly as fucking good as, a monkey, right? So they're superior than us in some areas. But I guess basically what I'm getting to is I kind of just thought about, what if nothing is better than anything else, and it's really just about the perspective that you look at it through.
Yeah. Definitely.
Therefore, will racism ever end? I think it will end, but it will only end when everybody understands nothing is better than anything else, or no living thing is better than any other living thing.
Like the whole universe,
Everything, bro.
needs to just
From a fucking ant, from a bacteria to a fucking whatever's bigger than the biggest thing on earth.
Right.
They're all equal.
Yep.
Have the shrooms hit you yet?
Well, no, you know what's funny, bro? Is like when you were talking about this, I was thinking through this exact same process of like, but sure, humans and racism and this and that, but like, what about outside of humans? Because as soon as an extraterrestrial comes into our planet, now we're into galactical racism.
Exactly.
And then when another galaxy comes into that galaxy, now we're like in intergalactic.
And the question is,
it's just like quadrants.
If it's the same problem, does it have the same solution?
Right.
And if it's the same problem, is it wrong for the same reasons?
Exactly.
And so essentially what I'm coming to the conclusion of is, if you believe that racism is wrong, then you also must confront the fact that all living creatures are equal.
Yeah.
And you also have to confront the fact that how are you going to live your life? How are you going to live your life now with that knowledge?
Right.
And this is there's a book that I was recently made aware of called The Art of Peace. Maybe you've heard of it.
I've heard of The Art of War.
Well, interesting, because there's a strong contradiction with The Art of Peace. Essentially, it's the belief that all living creatures... I don't fucking know that much about it, but I would imagine it's probably a similar fucking belief to what I'm reaching, which is all living creatures have value, all living creatures deserve to be alive, and therefore we shouldn't kill anything. But I would fucking argue, because lions and tigers, they're killing shit all the fucking time.
Meaning that we should kill them?
No, meaning that we should fucking live our lives. If it involves killing people, if it involves killing other things, then so be it. That doesn't mean that they're less valuable, but I guess what I'm getting to is like, what is morality? What is good? What is bad? Is it even defined by whether or not we kill other fucking people?
Oh my god, we could go on and on.
I know, but I'm starting to fucking think that killing people isn't bad. Not inherently, not the action. I think it all comes down to why. And obviously, we already fucking know this, which is the reason why we go to war.
Right.
We go to war and we know that we're fucking killing people. We know damn well that we're killing people.
Damn
we
well.
we fucking we put people on life support,
Yeah.
and then we decide, okay, we're gonna take them out of their misery.
True.
That's kind of fucking murder, kind of, right? I mean, not really, but in some ways it is. But the intent, the reason behind it is good, so it's okay. So my conclusion is, it's okay to kill people. It just fucking depends on why, of course. The why is everything.
Trying to like find a counter argument to that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, if it's okay for a lion to kill a gazelle, which it is, we're not going to disagree with it. That's their fucking diet. They've been doing that shit for a long time, right?
Right.
If that's okay, and they're just different races, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just the way fucking life is. We feed off of each other. And that kind of comes back to what I've been saying. We're not entitled to anything. Nobody's entitled to anything. I'm not entitled to not be killed. Just fucking not.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Lions aren't at a consciousness awareness to the point where they can actually like decipher if they should kill a gazelle or not. At least that's what we assume.
Well, no. They're at a level of awareness in which they can decipher whether they should or shouldn't. But their should or shouldn't isn't based off of morality.
Exactly.
It's based off of like cause and effect. Like if a gazelle's on the other end of a fucking cliff, they're like, okay, I shouldn't try to kill it because I'm gonna fucking die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so right. And so like you could almost disregard. You could argue that you can disregard if a lion should kill her or a gazelle or not, because it literally doesn't know and doesn't have the capability to reason that from an intent, like morality base.
And so yeah, we can sit here and say that, but can we prove it? Can we prove it?
We can't, right?
Exactly.
We can't.
And because we can't prove it, fuck, I'm gonna rant. Go on.
But simultaneously, we can't prove that we're hurting this couch by sitting on it, because we don't know the consciousness of this couch. We don't even know if it has a conscious.
True. Well, that is true. There's a lot more like scientific and factual backing to it not having a consciousness.
Well, here's the thing. What is consciousness? Why is this made out of atoms? And the electrons moving, how do we not know that those are conscious?
I would say that we have a decent, maybe we can even look it up, but I would say that we have a decent definition of consciousness, which is kind of like I think therefore I am.
Right. But who determines therefore I am? The person who is.
Exactly, the individual. They're like, yeah.
Not someone else.
Exactly.
So how do we know if that electron is saying therefore I am?
I mean, we really don't,
because we can
only assume.
Yeah,
exactly. We're not the electron, therefore we can only assume. Yeah.
So you could argue that I don't really know where I'm going with this. But
I think you're proving my point. That's what I think.
But I'm not like trying to prove your point or my point.
I'm trying to prove I'm saying that
it's also just based on perspective, that you could see it both ways.
Exactly. And that's what I think it really comes down to. You have to decide what perspective you want. And I guess I would like the idea that you have to decide which perspective is right, and then you stick with that perspective. But I also understand that there's intricacies, there's nuance, and you can also decide that there's different external factors that determine whether a perspective needs to be swayed one way or the other, or whether a thought, an idea should be swayed one way or the other. But in the same way that, like, I think ultimately, why is racism bad? What's going to solve racism? It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
We don't have their perspective. And I mean, this is shit that we were talking about earlier, right? I don't have a lion's perspective, but I still act upon it based off of what I know. And ultimately, that's why I think this shit's all about education. We can go about our lives and assume a bunch of shit. We can assume that, this fucking beetle is a conscious sentient being. It is all holy and all well, and I shall not kill it. Or I can say, ew, gross beetle. Exactly. And I can say, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you because I don't want you alive. No fucking good reason to kill a bug. It's crawling on me. It didn't bite me. It didn't harm me. It's just doing its thing. But I'm gonna fucking kill it.
I let a black widow live today.
I would say good on you, but I'm not sure that's good.
But like, would you kill that black widow?
Depends on
what it's doing. It was at work. And
depends on what it's interfering with my life.
Well, I was just like moving a pallet, like a boxes, and I lifted it up, and it was just like underneath there.
I probably would have fucking killed it.
And I was like, whoa. And I got close to it, and I shined my light, and I was like, fascinating creature. This is amazing. Wow. But I like spiders. I think they're dope. So I'm like, live, run, kill, poison someone else.
No, I probably would have killed it. The thing is, I find death really fascinating. Specifically, killing things really fascinating.
You sick motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is kind of fascinating. There was
fascinating.
There was a bug in my kitchen, and it was like getting close to the stove, like the oven, and it was hot, and like it didn't touch it, but it was like close to it, and it was like,
holy shit! Wait, did it make a noise?
No, dude. It was just like,
it just started dying.
It was like curling up and everything.
Wait, what was it?
It was like a pincher bug.
Oh shit!
And it was just like, it was like doing some exorcism shit, and I was just like, whoa! And I was like looking at it, and it's like. It was crazy. It was like curling up and like upside down and doing flips and fucking did 360 no scope and shit.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's also pretty stupid.
Yeah.
You'd think it'd feel the heat before it got lethal.
It did, but I think it was almost like a black hole. Like it just like got stuck there because like it was so in so much pain to the point
it moved too far too fast.
Yeah.
And it couldn't go back.
And it couldn't go back. Yeah. That was fascinating. I was like, whoa.
That's really fascinating.
But yeah, so I think we're good.
We're definitely fucking good.
You know?
We're definitely fucking good. Definitely, for sure.
We talked a lot about this.
Ton. I don't know how long this went.
Yeah, no, this was
I gotta piss so fucking badly too.
Bro, we just gotta go outside and pee. Yeah. Let's just do the outro real quick.
Okay.
Oh my god, an hour and 40. But
that's not bad.
It's only 12. We still got like till 2 a.m. to do another one.
Yeah. Fuck, I gotta piss.
Okay, guys, we have to pee. This is episode.
Potentially 3. We don't fucking
we
know.
Don't know.
I'll let him decide.
Yeah, this is.
I think I'll convince him though.
This is what is it called? Like, what would you call this? Like the honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
This is the honorable mention episode. I have some things to think about if I'm gonna post this or not.
Yeah, this is episode. This is episode.
2.5.
No, this is episode 2 beta.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Or 3 beta. Wouldn't it be 3 beta?
No, it's 2 because we're on episode 2.
Yeah.
I gotta piss so badly.
Okay, guys, bye. That's gonna be it. Bye. Leave a like, subscribe.
Bye. Yeah,
love you.
Ask questions. Tell me that I'm fucking wrong, but don't tell me that I'm wrong. Then not tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong.
No, they're gonna do that. You can't just not.
Okay, well, let me ask you to do something, right? Okay, because we could also say they're just not gonna subscribe and then not ask them to subscribe. So, please, if you're going to tell me that I'm wrong, tell me why I'm wrong, so that I can potentially give you a reply of why I disagree, or maybe you convince me that I am wrong, and you've now changed a soul. You've now converted me into a good person from a bad person, and that means that you did a fucking good thing.
Yeah,
that means you changed the fucking world, technically.
Wow.
Right? You have nothing to lose, only to gain. So please.
You heard it. You heard it. All right. Mardo, Jordan, we have this thing.
Peace. I gotta piss. Bro, I'm already feeling gassed up. Let's fucking get it, homie. What? Oh, yeah. I mean...
Wow, man, I just love your genuine response to that. Just like your genuine care, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like... It's like, yeah, okay. A lot of memories are like that. I don't know what you want from me.
Same with the podcast too.
Oh shit!
I just do it to capture like.
Yeah, you're a fucking beast, man. Yeah, no.
Thanks, bro. I tried.
Nah, dude, I fucking love that. I was wondering if it was already. Yo, has it been rolling since you got that light?
Yeah.
Dude, because I was singing into it.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna
You can go to it.
Yeah.
Damn, my first time in Miami. Damn, my first time in Miami. Damn, my first time in Miami. Damn, my first time. Damn, my first time in Miami.